Welcome everyone to the final round of the FIDE Chess Olympiad 2024. We have Arjun Erigaisi from India taking on Jan Subelj from Slovenia. Arjun has been in brilliant form in this tournament, 9 out of 10 before the start of this round, and he's playing his 11th straight game. Brings a banana with him, hardly ever eats it. This time as well, keeps it away. I think for Arjun, it's mainly been if the game goes into maybe the 5th or 6th hour, he would use the banana, but in general, he's been finishing off the games in a hurry in the 3rd or 4th hour. That's how good he has been in this tournament. His opponent, Jan Subelj, is a GM rated 2498 from Slovenia. Slovenia has played brilliantly in this tournament, led by Vladimir Fedosiev on top board, followed by Anton Demchenko, and then Jan Subelj. Let's see how this game turns up. Arjun would be looking to score his 10th point in this tournament. Shake of hands, and we are ready to rock and roll. What does Jan open the game with? He opens with 1 e4, and Arjun takes a sip of water, tries to get his act together. And will he play e5, c5? No, Scandinavian d5, also known as the center counter gambit, is on the board. e4, d5. Arjun plays a very risky opening. E takes d5 by Jan, and queen takes d5 by Arjun. Brings his queen out early in the opening, but this is an opening that is very provocative in a way. Knight comes out to c3, attacking the queen. I think Arjun is mainly playing with the fact that his opponent won't be so well prepared. Queen d6 is just a new way to play. Earlier people used to put their queen on a5, queen d6, and now d4 played by Jan. So the queen is a little awkwardly placed here, but Arjun continues as if nothing has happened. Knight f6 out. Now knight comes out to f3. I like the way in which both the players are moving the pieces very slowly. Arjun goes g6. He's trying to get his bishop out from g7. And let's see what Jan does. He plays knight to b5. Very interesting move, hitting the queen. The queen now needs to tread carefully because a check would mean just c3. He goes queen b6, getting out of the attack from the queen and just moving the queen away. And now if you play bishop f4 trying to attack here, there's knight d5. So he plays this very cool move a4, and actually this is the best move in the position. Arjun goes a6, attacking the knight, and because the pawn has moved to a4, you can actually bring the knight back to a3. Yeah, that's exactly what Subelj does. Knight to a3. The idea is to play your knight to c4 next. Arjun brings his bishop out to e6, covering the c4 square here. And Jan anyway goes to c4. Very interesting. The main point being tactically, after takes, there's no check here. Oh, Arjun anyway takes here. There's no check because of knight d2 blocking the check and defending the bishop. And now Arjun goes bishop g7. White castles it out. So white's position is definitely preferable. In fact, the engine gives it as high as 1.5 edge for white. Castles here. And now a good move is a5 or rook e1, just very strong. He plays his pawn to c3, which is also a fine move. Let's see how Arjun continues in this position now. He goes c5, just attacking in the center. Well, Jan can now push the queen away with a5, and he does so. He pushes a5, gains space, fixes the black pawns, and Arjun's queen has to keep an eye on the c5 pawn. So moves to c7. A good way to now continue is to take queen takes, he does so, takes, and after queen takes, to bring your queen to b3, putting pressure on b7, maybe preparing bishop e3. Yes, queen takes c5, and now queen b3, bishop e3, rook d1, maybe also activating the rook this way from a4. Many possibilities, but Jan plays queen d4. This is perhaps not the best way to play because you are ahead in time and you want to trade pieces. Not very wise. But rook c8 played here by Arjun. It's defending the queen. Knight e5, threatening this pawn on f7. But this can be defended with e6. The problem now is that there is a pin here. So if you are not careful, that can become very, very dangerous. I think firstly you have to defend the f7 pawn. He does so with e6. But imagine a move like bishop f4 and now knight h5 and suddenly you have big problems. He plays rook to a4, defending the bishop, the queen. But now for Arjun, this position starts becoming very enticing. He'll take on d4, and actually the Scandinavian has worked out brilliantly now because black's position is for choice. It's amazing how even against a 2500 rated GM, Arjun manages to play these risky openings and gets a playable position. It just goes to show how he's playing with the psychology of his opponents. Knight c6, his opponent now chops off, knight takes c6. The d4 pawn is now a weakness. You see here, rook takes c6 is taken. The rook can jump into d8 to attack the pawn on d4. This can become quite annoying. Bishop g5 played by Jan. He's trying to be active. I guess he's hoping that after take, maybe d5 and he can liquidate the position. Let's see how Arjun continues. You can see him just taking his chair, calmly thinking. I guess rook a c8 is one move to attack the bishop, but there's also rook d8 to attack the pawn. You can also think about perhaps rook d6. He plays rook d8. Now there's a pin here, but you can't take advantage of it. Even d5 is met with ed. He plays rook to d1. Slowly and steadily the position is building up here. He plays rook to d7. King f1 played. The point being that if you take here and push d5, then it's not so easy because after ed, bishop d5, there is a back rank issue. And so king f1 makes a lot of sense to get out of it. But now Arjun puts his knight on d5 and says there's no d5 break anymore. So careful now with b5 coming up if you are not careful. King e2. Right now b5, ab, knight b6 is met with rook takes a6 somehow. So it's not coming in, but h6 played by Arjun. And now the bishop comes back to e3. And Arjun brings his knight to e7, unleashing an attack here on d4, but also planning to bring his knight to f5 to attack here. He's about to make a move. He brings his bishop back to d3, hoping to put the bishop on e4. And Arjun now brings his rook to d6. You can see now there are 3 attackers here. There are only 2 defenders. So something must be done about it. He plays rook d2 and he's egging Arjun on to take here, because after maybe bishop h6 is hanging, or even bishop e4 putting pressure here could be an idea. But Arjun does not get is not interested. He plays f5. What a move. He has weakened the e6 pawn, but that's the way Arjun plays. He's not at all afraid. Now maybe king f7. He goes g5, further advancing, threatening to trap the bishop with f4. Maybe g3 now makes a lot of sense. His opponent goes f4, but that thoroughly limits his bishop here. And Arjun goes g4, expanding on the king side. Rook comes to b4. So now there's some pressure on b7, some pressure on e6. Let's see how Arjun deals with this. Maybe king f7. Oh, he jumps knight to d5, attacking the rook now. Asking the question, if you take here, rook d5, black would be better. He does take it, bishop d5. And Arjun takes it back, rook takes. Look at this. After all these trades and exchanges, black is left with a brilliant bishop on g7. Rook b6 played, trying to put pressure here, but just king f7 seems fine. Yes, and now a5 is hanging, so something must be done about it. It's not so easy for Arjun to milk his advantage here. Rook d3 played, because the b7 pawn is weak, so he cannot even win this pawn without losing the one on b7. Rook e7. If he had taken on a5, there was rook b3 putting pressure here, and that would have equalized the position. So rook e7 so as to meet rook b3 with rook d7. I believe that's the plan. That's the reason why Arjun went back to e7. No, he changes plans. He takes on d4, attacking the rook. Now rook takes b7. Seems like the move to be played. But he takes on d4. Maybe not the best idea, because here if he had taken on b7, then later now if you see rook d4, f4 pawn is also attacked. So there are these little nuances, but still the position is within drawing reach. Rook takes b7 played, and Arjun gives a check. Now king d3, very important move. If you go to f2, there is check here. Rook takes g3, rook takes f4. So king d3 on the board, and he now chops off the pawn. Very important to take and play rook b6, trying to win the a6 pawn. So he does take here. King takes, and now rook b6 is a must. It's a very important move, and the position remains very intense. I believe black still has winning chances, but he blunders. He goes check here, which is not at all the best move, and now Arjun simply brings his king up. Yes, his opponent is just going to go b4, rook b6 with the same plans, but in this position it's a race. It's a big race here, and with the move that he has played, he's given black a kickstart in this race. So now rook f2, and rook g2, h2, everything's hanging. Yes, plays his rook to f2. White has to be now rook b6. He cannot no longer save these pawns, so he goes rook b6. Whose pawns are actually more dangerous is the big question. Is it these pawns? Arjun chops off the pawn. Jan also chops the pawn. I'm actually thinking that the quantity no longer matters now, because is the quality. Which pawn's running faster down the board? b5, g3, b6, g2, b7. It's somehow black seems to be a one move faster. So rook a8 played. Maybe his point is he wants to push this pawn, but also go via g8 and stop this pawn. Arjun moves his rook behind the pawn here. So this pawn is stopped, but now the b pawn can actually run. So I guess b5 is the best move. But you can see Arjun gets up from the board. He's calculated this to a win, I feel. That's how good these players are. They just can calculate these things. g3 played. And now I guess b6. A plays a6. Well, b6 also would be met with the same thing here. Rook here and rook takes a5 followed by stopping this pawn. So that's why a6 was preferred. And now Arjun goes h5. You can see how the black pawns are just coming down the board. Well, he did not play b6 here because of g2 and then the a6 would fall. So he first brings his king in. And let's see what Arjun does next. h4 seems like the best move here. Yes, good move there by Arjun Erigaisi. Linking his pawns. But is it time to play b6? The problem with b6 once again is g2. So he goes rook g8. But he's attacking nothing. But maybe he's threatening b6, b7, b8 perhaps. Now Arjun does not care. He goes h3. And if you play rook takes, then after h2, check, and you lose the rook. So okay, that's not working. Oh, he takes the pawn. He takes the pawn, but now h2, you can see how quick the h pawn was. Even before the queenside pawns could even move ahead, Arjun's pawn is becoming a queen. Rook h3, and now a check here. Yes, Arjun finds the check. He goes king f4 and he can pick up the rook. But hey, why not checkmate here? e5, checkmate on the board. Arjun Erigaisi wins. Scores 10 out of 11 at the Olympiad. Unbeaten run. Amazing player. Just outstanding. Gandhivam, as we call him. Gandhivam, the bow of Arjun, the warrior in India's mythological Mahabharata. Amazing their play by Arjun, and he's been the backbone of Team India in this Olympiad. His victories have given the team so much of confidence in all the games, and he's managed to carry his form throughout the event, and here as well in the final round to come to play the Scandinavian Opening, which is not considered by the experts as one of the most solid openings for black, but just equalizing in 10 moves and then pressing and finally converting. That's Arjun for you.